Ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I'm going to tell you how the virus is currently ravaging the White House, how states who erroneously overpaid enhanced unemployment insurance payments are demanding that recipients of those benefits pay thousands of dollars of that money back, how a whopping majority of registered voters demanding that the Senate work on passing the next round of stimulus before working on the confirmation of the next Supreme Court justice, and where we are at with the power brokers negotiating on behalf of the Trump administration and Democrats for the next round of stimulus, which is calling for enhanced unemployment insurance payments of anywhere from $400 to $600 a week, another round of stimulus checks, $40 billion for a small business Lifeline Grant of 6 months of operating expenses according to EIDL calculations, or $50,000, the lesser of the two amounts, and another round of the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Grant for all legitimate small business applicants. So, I got this helmet on, ladies and gentlemen, because I just picked it out of everything that I packed to move and relocate next to this fountain. I've got to rep my Giants because my man Jason Mack has always got his star on. According to him, he's from New York City. I know where we went wrong with him because he carries the burden of always repping that star. Why? When the Giants will demolish these people and stomp all over that star on October 11th, 425. Stay tuned and ride with me, ladies and gentlemen. White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany has just tested positive for the virus. You know that she speaks without a mask before the press every time during a press briefing. And 2 members of the White House press team have also tested positive for the virus. The White House is expecting that more senior staff officials will test positive for the virus. Therefore, they have significantly reduced their staff levels over at the White House. White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows has stated that he was speaking with the president's legal team, with his medical team earlier today. As you very well know, the president tested positive for the virus with the First Lady last week. He was in Walter Reed Medical Center, and he stated that the president was recovering nicely last night, and he was optimistic that the Walter Reed Medical Center would discharge him later on today. The president has announced that Walter Reed Medical Center will discharge the president today at 6:30 p.m. Reporters asked former Vice President Joe Biden whether he thought it was safe to debate President Donald Trump next week. He said that he is relying on the experts, and if they say it is all right, then that is fine by him. He declined to comment in regards to the ride outside of Walter Reed Medical that the president took yesterday, and Dr. Jill Biden actually pulled Joe Biden away from the press when reporters were getting too close to him. States who erroneously overpaid enhanced unemployment insurance payments to recipients are actually demanding that those recipients pay that money back, while the money has already been spent already. These benefits expired on July 31st, ladies and gentlemen, and some people are getting bills for thousands of dollars in payments, or they are suffering reductions in their existing benefits in order to pay this money back to states who erroneously made this calculation. It wasn't anybody's fault because the calculations are hard to decipher by anybody, and unless it is fraud, the states have an ability to be able to waive the repayments of this overpayment. Nonetheless, according to details, fine lettering in the CARES Act that actually packaged these benefits into this round of stimulus, the states would actually, the statute blocks states from waiving repayments of these overpayments. So people are going to have to pay this money back. According to The Hill and Harris X poll, a whopping 74% of registered voters across the country are demanding that the Senate work on passing another round of stimulus before working on the confirmation for Amy Coney Barrett as a justice to the Supreme Court to replace the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg as a justice for the Supreme Court. They want him to move on it quickly. A small majority of Republicans, 55% of Republicans, want the Senate to work on the next round of stimulus before working on the confirmation for the next Supreme Court justice, and 77% of independent voters want the Senate to work on the next disaster relief package before working on the confirmation for the Supreme Court justice. 88% of Democrats want the Senate to work on the next round of stimulus before working on the confirmation for the next Supreme Court justice. According to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi spokesperson Drew Hamill, today at 11:30, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin were negotiating the costs of provisions in their proposals for the next round of stimulus. According to Ms. Hamill, The two sides agreed to exchanging papers today, and they will jump on the phone tomorrow. They failed to make a deal today. Nonetheless, they're going to continue on talks on regards to the negotiation for the next round of stimulus. They're going to continue on it tomorrow. The big disagreement, as you know, comes in regards to the funding for state and local governments. The administration wants a $1.6 trillion deal. $250 billion going to state and local governments, where Democrats want $436 billion for state and local governments. They've considerably dropped that ask from $915 billion. The administration also wants business liability protections, which Democrats are clearly opposing. Democrats are also calling for another round of stimulus checks. Thank you for turning that fountain off, by the way. Another round of stimulus checks, $1,200 for individuals who make up to $75,000, $2,400 for couples filing taxes jointly, and $500 for each dependent. Couples who file taxes jointly up to $150,000 will qualify for that $2,400 round of stimulus checks. The administration wants $400 a week enhanced unemployment insurance payments until next year, and Democrats want $600 a week enhanced unemployment insurance payments until next year. As you know, the updated HEROES bill, that $2.2 trillion deal that Democrats passed last week along a party line vote, is calling for $40 billion for a small business Lifeline Grant to fund grants of up to 6 months of working capital, according to EIDL calculations, the lesser of 6 months of working capital, or a $50,000 grant to all legitimate small businesses. It also calling for another round of the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Grant pursuant to the eligibility requirements on the CARES Act. Nonetheless, they did correct the language. If you watch my previous video on this provision, the updated HEROES bill is actually including the word shall to mandate that the Small Business Administration disperses the grant to all qualifying entities. So people who did not receive that grant will have an opportunity to receive that grant once this bill gets passed, once that provision gets passed. Nonetheless, as I said in my previous video, the updated HEROES bill is failing to provide funding for S.4227. That is calling for the disbursement, the Small Business Administration's disbursement of the full $10,000 Economic Injury Disaster Loan Grant to all legitimate small business applicants. And as many of you continue to ask me time and time again, you don't watch the whole video, watch the videos until the end and I will respond to your questions. If you were a recipient of the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Grant at $1,000 per employee, then let's say you only have one employer, you had two employees, and you received a $1,000, $2,000 grant. If you receive a $1,000 grant, then under S.4227, if the guts of that deal gets packaged in the next round of stimulus, then the Small Business Administration will have to disperse the difference of $1,000 and $10,000. So $10,000 minus $1,000, they'll have to give you a check of $9,000. If they give you a $2,000 grant, they'll have to give you a check of $8,000. Also, this Small Business Lifeline Grant, if it gets passed and gets packaged in the next round of stimulus, you will be able to use it to pay off your economic injury disaster loan, essentially making that economic injury disaster loan a grant that you do not have to pay back, ladies and gentlemen. And if you did not, in order for you to qualify for this Small Business Lifeline Grant of $50,000 or 6 months of working capital minus cost of goods sold, you have to be operating a business of 50 employees or less. You have to be the owner has to be a low-income individual, and you have to be able to show a 8-week revenue loss of 30% or greater between the period of March 2nd and December 31st when compared to the same period last year. Again, as this bill fails to package funding for the SBA's full disbursement of the $10,000 Economic Injury Disaster Loan Grant to all legitimate small business applicants, then we have to go ahead and hit up the Speaker, because she's the one with all the power right now. Understand? This is the only person that has no reason to budge. She's holding firm on her $2.2 trillion offer. And in this particular case, I see the president failing because he's not supposed to be attacking Democrats. Democrats have no reason to comply with what he's saying. He did demand that the GOP agree to Democrats' higher offer. Yet there are clearly senators on the Republican side that are saying there is no need for another round of stimulus. You just want people to get back to work. There are congressional representatives in the House of Representatives that do not want another round of stimulus, ladies and gentlemen. They are breaking ranks. And as you can clearly see, only a small majority of Republican registered voters are actually demanding that the Senate works on the next disaster relief package before working on the confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett as the next Supreme Court Justice. So they think that they have the base at this particular point in time, and the president probably, that's why he's not pushing for it as much. He's probably stating, listen, Republicans don't really want stimulus as opposed to confirming this judge. So, you know what, I'm not even going to put it, because if he really wanted to, he would go out there and pressure these people. And just like he's attacked other Republicans when they've broken rank and file, he can do the same thing in this particular case. You are breaking rank and file. Same thing he did to Murkowski and all of the rest of the Republicans when they start talking in opposition to him. When Mitt Romney starts attacking, he voted for his impeachment. Once he starts talking crap about all of these people, he needs to do the same thing in regards to stimulus. Everybody who is in opposition, another round of stimulus checks, support for small businesses, stating that we are in a position that, including his senior Chief Economic Advisor, National Economic Council Director, Larry Kudlow, he stated that the economy can recover even if lawmakers do not pass another round of stimulus. So, right now, we have to go ahead and contact House Speaker Nancy Pelosi at speaker.gov, regardless of your political affiliation. Remember, as I've told you several times, none of these lawmakers, they are loyal. They're not loyal to their party. They're only Republicans and Democrats because they're getting paid for it, ladies and gentlemen. Understand? They were born in a blue state. That's where they found the opportunity. For some reason, they went to school in a red state and they found the opportunity to become a Republican. And that's where they found their success. That's the only reason that they hold allegiance to any of these parties. We're not Republicans and Democrats. They don't care about any of us. They don't care about it. If you're not a Republican, not getting paid. Look what happened to John Boehner, former House Speaker. Republican House Speaker. You know, Republican of a Republican. He's the leader of Republican in the House of Representatives. Now he's a lobbyist for the cannabis industry, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, these people aren't loyal to any parties or anything to that effect. So, it doesn't, regardless of whether you like this lady, she has no affiliation to me. I'm not affiliated to any political party. My objective and my purpose at this particular moment in time in my life is to stop at nothing until you receive all the monetary ammunition that you need to save and feed your family, save your businesses, and keep your employees on payroll to ultimately save this country. So contact House Speaker Nancy Pelosi at speaker.gov and let her know that you want her to package funding for S.4227, the Small Business Administration's full disbursement of the $10,000 Economic Injury Disaster Loan Grant to all legitimate small business applicants so you can wake up early in the morning and save this country, because she's not going to do it. Mitch McConnell's not going to do it. The President of the United States is not going to do it. You, as the American people, as small business owners, and even if you're not a small business owner, it affects you because you don't want these small business owners to go under. These constitute customers for companies that you potentially work for if you're not affiliated with a small business, and employees at these organizations, they'll be out of work, less spending at your companies, wherever you work, if you don't work for a small business. So even if you're not a small business owner, you have to ensure that we survive. We survive because we operate 99.9% of all business in the United States, employing 60.6 million U.S. workers, half of the U.S. workforce. We cannot be ignored, ladies and gentlemen. And you also need your next round of stimulus, all the enhanced unemployment insurance payments that you need to pay your bills, feed your families, and ultimately secure your unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, or we will exercise our duty to alter and abolish this government, ladies and gentlemen, to provide for our happiness, our security, and our safety, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you think. Drop your comments in the comments section below. Watch this video right here for more economic injury disaster loan grant and stimulus coverage. Click the like button if you like the video. Click the subscribe button to stay on top of my findings. We report and stop at nothing until each and every one of you is funded with everything for which you are eligible to save yourselves, save your families, your loved ones, and ultimately save this country. May God bless you. May God bless the United States of America and everybody else on this planet. Talk soon. Go Giants, baby.